As you know, over the weekend, drones and missiles rained down upon Israel. Fortunately, about 99% of them were intercepted. Over 200 drones, cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles from inside its own territory. First time Iran has ever launched a direct attack against the Jewish state. What about the reaction here in the United States? Let me take you to the Teamsters Hall before we bring our guest on, because this is a subject that she is intimately familiar with. Noa Tishby is the New York Times bestselling author of Israel, A Simple Guide to the Most Misunderstood Country on Earth. She's a native of Tel Aviv. She's a big star in Israel. She's a producer, an actress, and a very, very visible on social media. And I've followed her for a while, and I want to get her perspective and check in with her in just a moment. I especially want to get her reaction to this scene. This took place at the Teamsters Hall in Chicago. Listen to this.
So I'm going to teach you a chant in Persian that you can use if you ever encounter those Zionist freaks, whether they be Iranian or whatever, all right? Now, I don't drink margaritas, but we all know what a margarita is. We all know what a bar is. So you're going to say, Marg Bar. Marg Bar. Marg Bar Israel. 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 Thank you.
What does that mean?
Oh, so it has two meanings depending on who's asking. It can mean death to or down with. So
can we get a Marg Bar America?
We can get a Marg Bar America. Yes, we can. Marg Bar America.
Marg Bar America.
Marg Bar America.
Marg Bar America.
Thank you.
Now, that's not Syria. That's not Lebanon. That's Chicago. Hundreds of anti-war activists crowded into the basement of the Teamsters Union headquarters and resulted in the chants, "Death to America" and "Death to Israel" in Farsi. Let's welcome Noa Tishby to the Mike Gallagher Show. Again, fascinating lady. Again, New York Times bestselling author, and she was Israel's special envoy for combating anti-Semitism and delegitimization. Noa, it's a real pleasure to welcome you to the Mike Gallagher Show. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning.
Hi. So I played for you this clip from Chicago. It also happened in Dearborn, Michigan. And indeed, the governor there, Gretchen Whitmer, has yet to condemn the "Death to America" chants that erupted in certain parts of Michigan after the Iranian attack against Israel. Noa, we know anti-Semitism is real, it exists, but did you, in all of your work, did you ever anticipate the full-throated embrace of anti-Semitism the way we're seeing recently, especially since October 7th here in the United States? Did you ever see this coming?
So first of all, sadly, yes, I did. We did. We predicted this. We talked about this. We have been trying to warn Americans and warn all of us here in this incredible country that it's coming and that it's already here. Isn't it ironic, Mike, that this ceasefire crowd that pretends to be all about peace, that calls on Israel to cease fire as if Israel was not the country that was attacked and is being chased by jihadists? Isn't it bizarre how suddenly when Iran attacks Israel, it's okay and it's a legitimate attack to send 60, 100 tons of missiles, of cruise missiles and killer drones at Israel? Sadly, we knew this was coming. This is not something new, and this is something that is not happening by accident. It's happening by design. So American university and American progressive circles have been literally infiltrated by nefarious forces that are against the state of Israel and against America, honestly. And this is something that a lot of people on the left can think of as something that is somewhat conspiratorial, but I'm here to say that it is not. A few months ago, I testified in front of the Ways and Means Committee in Congress to the connection between campus anti-Semitism and terrorism financing. And there is a connection there. We know that some people that are behind all these organizations that are sponsoring this infiltration of campuses are people that have been connected to convicted criminals that have fundraised for Hamas. So we actually know that there's almost like a network. They always say that the Jews have a cabal. It's literally the exact opposite. And it's something that is threatening not just for Jews, not just for Israel. This is threatening for America and for everything that we hold dear. Because here's the thing with anti-Semitism. Okay, anti-Semitism is not as simple, and I'm saying this with obviously as with quotes, right? Simple as racism. So it's not when you're racist against somebody, you think you're better than them. You're kind of like, well, I'm better than that person. Anti-Semitism is not like that because it's kind of like you're punching down at someone, but also punching up. So anti-Semitism in its essence is a shape-shifting conspiracy theory. And when you become so conspiratorial that you actually think that the Jews are the secret handshake that runs the world and therefore Israel needs to be taken down, those filthy Zionists, when you actually believe that, you can believe anything else. And it's almost like a sign that something is rotten in our society. So the Jews are referred to as the canary in the coal mine, right?
Sure.
That like when something's going down with the Jews, it never stays with the Jews. And this is something that America noticed now in a very severe way. I do believe that this angry mob that is against Israel and against America and against Western values needs to be called out in the most firm of ways. And I don't think we're there, sadly, but I do believe that the majority of normal Americans are noticing that this is wrong and this is happening and it needs to be called out.
No,
and let's see how this goes.
Noa Tishby is our guest, New York Times bestselling author, Israel's former special envoy combating anti-Semitism and delegitimization. I was in Israel a few weeks ago as a guest of the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, and I saw the flyers, of course, of the hostages everywhere. In fact, we went to Hostage Square in Tel Aviv, and you know it well, right there in the center of the city. And yet I compared that with New York City, where the flyers are routinely torn down. People are ripping them up. You know, Noa, what fascinates me about the anti-Semitism that we're seeing on college campuses, coming from the so-called intellectual heavyweights, these are not dumb people, Noa. There doesn't seem to be any lack of, there's no shame in expressing your hatred for the Jewish people so openly. Can you help me understand why that is? Again, these aren't dumb people. These are not, you know, how are they willing to say, okay, I'm going to go tear down flyers of these poor men, women, and children who are being held hostage in Gaza, many of whom are, I hate to say this, undoubtedly they've been murdered, like so many others were murdered on October the 7th. How can they defend that rank anti-Semitism, knowing, especially with the preponderance of cell phone cameras, that their actions are very well going to be, you know, spread all over the world? How do they defend it, Noa?
Because they don't think they're doing the bad thing. On the contrary, they think they're virtue signaling. They think they're literally doing the best thing in the world. That's what's so ironic about this.
Best?
They have been convinced, the best. They literally think that they're speaking truth to power, and they think that they're speaking up to the man, taking down the patriarchy, whatever slogan you want to think of. That's what they think that they're doing. And the thing is this, right? They don't understand that they have been completely brainwashed with lies and blood libels, right?
Sure.
About Israel. So if you say that Israel is an ethnically cleansing state, that's a blood libel that's literally similar to the one from the 1500s, like where they used to say on anti-Semitism, again, because of the shape-shifting conspiracy theory, right? They used to say that the Jews used the blood of Christian children to make the matzahs. Millions of Jews were murdered because of that blood libel, right? So you take the word Jew and you swap it now with the word Zionist, and here you go again, the new conspiracy, the new shape-shifting of anti-Semitism. So they literally would say the IDF is killing Palestinian children in order to, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's shifted.
it
So
shifted.
they actually think that they're doing the right
I
thing.
love the
And if it wouldn't have been
I love the way you've put this shape-shifting conspiracy theory.
conspiracy,
It's a
yeah,
great
yeah,
way to
that's
put it. I've never thought of it that way, but it's true.
yeah, it is true. It is true because it changes when you look at history. First of
Sure.
all, anti-Semitism, Jew hatred, is the oldest form of hate and discrimination that is still being practiced today. So we have first accounts of anti-Semitism in like Alexandria in Egypt in like 300 BC. So we this is and it has a reiteration every few hundred years. It changes to something new. If you know your history, you know that the Jews are the most persecuted minority in the history of the world.
Correct.
And we're okay with it. We know, we get it, but they don't get it now. So to them, when they're taking the photo of Kfir Bibas, who was 9 months old when he was kidnapped to Gaza, who celebrated his first year there, and God only knows where he's at now. And they're taking that photo down with like the hate and vitriol that is should be saved to, the Iranian regime, right? The Islamic Republic of Iran. That's they think they're doing the right thing, but they're actually literally practicing the same hate that has been around for so many
Indeed.
thousands of years.
Indeed. Let me get your reaction to President Biden's reaction to this. He made it clear that the U.S. will not join any Israeli offenses against Iran. It was reported that Biden told Bibi Netanyahu over the weekend, take the win, which of course strikes me as the equivalent of getting punched in the nose. And if you don't fall to the ground, you're supposed to take the win because you didn't fall to the ground. It's unbelievable. I can't believe that me, a registered Republican, is siding with Senator John Fetterman from Pennsylvania, who is just unabashedly in Israel's corner. We need to support Israel.
John Fetterman, Richie Torres,
Yeah.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz. There are a lot of people on the left that are huge, staunch supporters of
and good for them because that's the right position to take. Do you believe that Iran was
only if you like democracy. If you don't like democracy and freedom of speech and human rights and freedom and all that, then you can support the Islamic Republic.
Because I got to believe the left is pummeling those folks. I got to believe that they're livid at the John Fettermans of the world. But do you believe that the perception that many of us have is that Biden's weakness is what emboldened Iran? Indeed, the billions of dollars that we funneled to Iran under the shameful deal that Obama was involved in. What's your perspective, Noa Tishby, on the role that the Biden administration has played in this unprecedented attack against Israel?
So my perception is this. First of all, the defense and the kind of like a alliance that have emerged from that brazen and really extraordinarily horrific attack on Israel is great. So there has been an alliance that has shaped up, including Jordan and obviously the EU and the US and Israel. However, the West has to wrap their heads around the fact that Iran is the source of instability in the world. And when Iran says death to Israel, death to America, this is not hyperbolic. It's what they want to do.
Right.
And at some point, we're going to have to hold our feet to the fire as Americans. At some point, we're going to have to take leadership on this and just say do what we don't want to do. There is one truly evil regime in the world. It's the Islamic Republic of Iran that the Iranian citizens and Iranian women have been trying to signal to us for years that they need help. And appeasing that regime is not going to get us anywhere. It's just not going to get us anywhere. So do I think Israel and the United States need to attack tomorrow? I don't know. I'm not a military expert and I'm not privy to intelligence behind this, right?
Sure.
But do I think the world needs to literally understand that if Israel goes down, the West is next? That's what they're after. Obviously, Israel's not going to go down, but that's what they want. They want to create the Shiite crescent. They're creating a ring of fire around Israel. They're taking Israel as an American proxy and as a liberal force in the Middle East. It's not helpful for them. This is a war between Iran and Russia and us and the rest of the normal world, right? And
Right.
the world needs to understand that. So is it about de-escalation right now? I don't know. But in the future, we have to take this threat very seriously. And obviously, no deals are to be made with that regime. because it's just like no deals are to be made
Of course.
with that regime.
Noah's book is coming out April 30th, Uncomfortable Conversations with a Jew. I can't wait to get my hands on it, and I hope you'll come back and join us again, because your
I would love
perspective
that.
I follow you on X. Everybody should, at Noa Tishby. Everybody should be following you, because you possess a sense of clarity and truth that is so needed right now. Noah, thanks very much for joining us here on the Mike Gallagher
Thank you
Show.
so much.
Please come back and join us
Thank
again.
you.
Keep fighting the good fight.
I would love that.
We appreciate it very
Absolutely.
much. And incidentally, I had a listener say, gosh, it'd be a good time for people to step up and continue to support the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. And I agree. If you go to mikeonline.com, you want to stand with Israel, the fellowship is rushing emergency supplies to Israel, in Israel, building all kinds of, just providing all kinds of infrastructure, armored vehicles. The emergency needs are very, very vast right now. You stepped up in the month of March, but I want to remind you that banner is still up at mikeonline.com. If you click on the banner at the top of the page that says Israel at War, you can make a secure online donation. Whatever you can afford, we will definitely appreciate. I love this organization. I got to visit with Yael Eckstein when I was over there a few weeks ago, and I hope you'll step up and support the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. Just go to mikeonline.com, click on the Israel at War banner at the top of the page to donate. Your gift in any amount will help as Israelis are dealing with this horror, Iran with hundreds of drones and ballistic missiles into Israel in this unprovoked attack. Please stand with Israel. Go to mikeonline.com, click on that Israel at War banner at the top of the page, and thank you from all of us at Team Gallagher.